Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new. So today I want to share with you the 3 phases of the weight loss journey. So the first phase is going to be what I call yo-yo dieting. It can last up to years. You may go through it, you may not, but for most of us it lasts years. And what happens in the yo-yo phase is where you're like, okay, I want to lose weight. I know I need to lose weight. I should lose weight. And you'll go back and forth in that little area where you feel comfortable, like you need to, like you feel like you need to, but it's not really like a big deal. You'll kind of put it off for later. And then like things like events or summertime stuff will come around and you're like, okay, I really do want to lose the weight, and you will go on a restrictive diet or crash diet, lose a little bit of weight, and then likely the cycle will happen over and over, and you just kind of go back and forth. And it's just kind of this area where it's like, you know, you want to lose weight, you know, you need to be healthier, but it's just not a big priority. You've got a lot going on right now, and it just isn't something that's at the top of the list. And then where the actual weight loss journey starts is when something happens that creates a mind shift. It kind of pierces through your conscious thought, goes into the subconscious, and it becomes something we must do. Like our back's against the wall, and usually it's something like a health scare where the doctor says, okay, you've got to change things. What it really forces you to do is look in the mirror. Like you can't deny it anymore, and it forces you to say, okay, this has to change. I can't go on like this. I have to do something about it right now. And when that shift happens, that's where the whole weight loss journey comes. That's the most important part, is when it changes from something that I know I need to do to something that it's just like, okay, I don't even care how much time it's going to take. I don't care about like a certain deadline. I just cannot go on this way. And that's where the big shift happens. And I think for most weight loss journeys, it just kind of happens. Like those situations will sort of pop up, but you can force yourself into that situation where you say, okay, I don't care how long this is going to take. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make this happen. And it requires like really being honest with yourself. It requires taking a look in the mirror and to face the things that we avoid. Because for me, I was avoiding the mirror, I was avoiding the scale, I was avoiding pictures, and I got to a point where it was just like so much time had passed of me doing that. And I remember I was just always in leggings and baggy t-shirts, and all of my pictures, if I took any, were in baggy t-shirts and leggings. And it was just like, I didn't want this to be my life. And it took, you know, time of seeing all of that happening for me to say, okay, like I don't want this to be, you know, this is foreseeing into my future, like where's this path leading? And for me, that was like, okay, I've got to change something. So that's the big part, is where you say, okay, I cannot go on like this. And when that happens, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. It doesn't matter how many times you get up and fall. You make sure you're going to do it, and it just becomes a must for you. So once you make that commitment and you decide to go gung-ho, this beginning phase can take months, it can take years, and this is the phase where you'll likely experiment with different diets, see what works best for you, go back and forth, start exercising. And it's not always going to be perfect. You're going to have days when you're like super motivated and you do everything just right, just like you wanted, and then the next day everything's just kind of out the door, and it'll go back and forth like that. But the more you continue to do it, the more you say, I don't care how long this is going to take, I'm making this happen. I may have a couple bad days, I may have a couple bad weeks, I don't care, I'm making this happen. The more you go through that and the more you push through, the less and less you'll have those times where you're like, man, I didn't do that great today. And it'll just get better and better. And the best part of that is this is where you start to change. You start to change who you are, because when you push through these little barriers that you may have not pushed yourself through before, you start to become a different person, and you start to see yourself differently, and you start to see what you're really capable of. And it's so true when they say that it's not about, when you go through the journey, it's not about the end result, it's about the person you become. That's all the journey is about, it's about the person you're becoming. And with every decision you make, and it's not always going to be perfect, there's going to be like times where you're just like, oh gosh, that was a horrible week, but it gets better and better with time, and being able to say, okay, it's getting better and better with time makes it easier, and you just keep growing. And it's pretty cool to see yourself change. I've talked to a couple of people who have been following me since I first started the channel, and it was cool because they were like, yeah, you seem like a different person. You can tell your mindset's different. You look at things differently. And that's the cool thing, is it's always a journey. You know, I hope that in 2 years from now, I'm a different person than I am right now, because that means we're always growing. We're always trying to learn. And that's what makes the journey fun, because it almost distracts us from worrying about this number on the scale we're trying to get to, worrying about this goal weight that we want to be at. And we focus on this, and it's actually, we focus on who we're becoming, and it's actually the most important part, because there's been people who have lost weight but felt worse after they lost weight, because they're hoping to lose weight to make them feel better about themselves, to make them feel happy, and to get to that point but still not feel fulfilled. It's because our fulfillment comes from inside. It comes inside first, and then our outer shell reflects what's inside. So really, the pushing yourself in the gym, all of that stuff, it's not even about burning the calories. It's about growing as a person and pushing yourself as a person. And that's the funnest part of the journey, is just seeing yourself grow and surprising yourself. But as you go through this phase, you'll have ups and downs, but you'll have longer and longer periods of time where you feel like, man, like, I've been on a roll. I haven't even like worried about my food. I'm just kind of doing what I'm supposed to do. It becomes routine, and you start to feel like kind of out of whack if you don't stick to your routine, because you develop the routine of how you eat, you've developed the routine of exercise, and this all usually happens over a course of months. It doesn't happen by saying, okay, on Monday I'm going to just do this all, because then that gets disappointing. But you start to change little things, whichever it is for you. You change little things each week, every couple of days, and you start to build this new lifestyle, just like one brick at a time. It doesn't happen overnight. And you'll see like how important your routine becomes to you. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed with people with successful weight loss journeys, is they develop a routine for themselves. And that's what makes it easy, because you know, weight loss is not just from one day of eating good. It's from consistently doing it day after day, and routines is what allows us to do that. And that leads us to the third phase of the weight loss journey, which is really just making it a lifestyle. You're always growing, and you're always wanting to push yourself, but it becomes more habitual. Your food choices, your exercise routine, it stays about the same, but you just remind yourself to like allow yourself to push yourself out of the comfort zone, because it's easy for us to get stuck in our routine, but we always want to grow, so we always constantly have to push ourselves outside of that comfort zone. Once you get to the lifestyle stage, it's not as tough anymore. You don't have to like have these internal battles with yourself about, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? Those internal battles really stop a lot when you get to that point where you're like, okay, I have to lose weight. Like, I cannot go on. When you get to there, the internal battles diminish a lot right after that moment, because that's when you have that mindset shift, and it's so different. It's not like, oh, I really want this bag of chips, but I can't have it. It's just like you don't even want it anymore, and that's where everything starts to change. Your weight loss journey becomes a lot easier, and it gets better and better with time. So I hope this video has helped you guys. If you have any questions down below, leave them down below. Thank you guys always for your love and support. I love y'all. You're amazing, and I hope you guys have a happy 4th of July. Mwah.